So a student has asked me to look at 7b on 2.4, and so I've got it set up here on the board, and as you can see, I have already written out that since this is 2 root 2 minus root 5 squared, I just wrote it out so that I can see all the parts to it, because I'm going to have to multiply this by itself again. The problem with this question, besides the fact that it's got a lot of parts to it, is that it's got negatives in strange places. So the best way to deal with those negatives is just to insert some brackets. If I put big brackets around this whole operation and just leave the negative outside for now, that means I'm going to be able to deal with the negative later, and that keeps things more simple. So if I'm looking at this set of brackets to solve, it's two sets of brackets, so I'm going to have to FOIL. So we'll start with our first, which is 3 root 2. Actually, let's just put this bracket in here right away with the negative outside. And I've got 3 root 2 times root 2. So I know that it's going to be 3 root 4, which is actually just going to give me 3 times 2, which eventually is going to give me 6. So I'm just going to write that out that way for now. My outside term is 3 root 2 times 7. There is no root here, so I'm just doing the 3 times 7, so it's going to give me 21, and then carries the root 2 from the first section here. Inside gives me negative root 5 times root 2, which is just going to give me negative root 10. And finally, the last term is going to be negative root 5 times 7, so it's just going to be negative 7 root 5. Whoops, maybe I should use a different color. That's going to finish up that set of brackets, and I can just move on to the next set, close this one up, and I'll try and keep my work a little more condensed. I'm just going to put in the negative, whoops, I'm going to put in the negative and the root, and then I'm going to continue with the FOIL. So my first is 2 root 2 times 2 root 2, which is going to give me 4 root 4, which is going to end up being 4 times 2, which will eventually give me 8. So going forward, I'm just solving that out as I go. Next, I've got my outside term, so 2 times negative root 5. Don't forget the root 2 here. So I'm going to go negative 2 root 10 inside negative 2 root 10. So I got 2 of those guys. And my last is going to be negative root 5 times negative root 5, which is positive 5, because it would have given me positive root 25. And that's going to conclude that one, so we'll just close the brackets. You can see this gets pretty drawn out here, and I've it's all good. All right, so I go back to this set of brackets, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get rid of these brackets, and I'm just going to write out what everything is with the signs reversed. So when I bring this negative through, it's going to change all the signs inside the brackets. It's like multiplying by negative 1. So I end up with negative 6 here, negative 21 root 2, positive root 10, positive 7 root 5. Do the same thing here. I'm just going to continue with my brackets. Negative 8, positive 2 root 10. Oh, wait, we can fix this. This is negative 2 root 10 and negative 2 root 10 is going to give me negative 4 root 10, which is going to change this one to positive 4 root 10. I collected my like terms. And I'm just going to leave it this way for now. Here, negative 5. So now I've got all my stuff written out. The only thing I have left to do is to just grab a couple different colors here. Collect my like terms. So I'm going to start with whole numbers. I've got a -6, a -8, and a -5. So -6 and -8 is -14, and -5 is going to give me -19. Now, I'm going to look. It doesn't look like I have any other root 2's, so I could just write -21 root 2. And then it's going to take me to the root 10's. I've got 1 root 10 here and 4 root 10's here. So I'm going to have 5 root 10's in total. And, oops, let's do that. That just leaves me with this 7 root 5, which I don't change either, so I'll just add that 7 root 5. So my answer is -19 minus 21 root 2 plus 5 root 10 plus 7 root 5.